What's up, Faithful? Welcome to the East Coast Red and Gold podcast. I'm Niners Jess. Ty Alston is inactive tonight. We have Maddie B and your girl Bex. How you guys doing?
Zero complaints here. I'm on vacation.
Lucky.
Did you know that Brandon Ayuk hasn't signed an extension yet? I wasn't sure if you're aware of that or not.
Yes, and we're actually going to start off by talking about that because
Okay, we're gonna lead right off with that. That's cool. All right,
Yeah.
just so the audience knows, just to take a little bit behind the scenes, we did not discuss anything about what we would be talking about tonight. Okay,
No.
we
No,
didn't
we
get
definitely
together
did
before
not.
the show and didn't like whip a bunch of things around. Okay,
Nope.
so
We actually never do.
no, we don't do that.
mostly never,
That's not our
right?
thing. No. Like if we talk about 49ers related things, it's things completely opposite usually of what we talk about on the show. It's really kind of wild, actually.
I think a few times we like ran it past one another, but I think that was in the beginning because we were just kind of like getting a feel for everything. But ever
Or
since
if we
then,
have
it's
guests,
just
sometimes we'll just make sure we're all aligned on.
that we're not asking the same thing, and and that type deal.
What-
All right,
Agreement.
so and sticking with the thumbnail, the money game. Let's talk about some more BA because obviously there's more to talk about. Mike Silver said that there is an offer on the table for $26 million. My thing is just go up to 28 and be done with it. I mean, apparently they're 4 million apart. But I think 28.5 would do the trick. And just do it.
Look,
What do you
I have
think?
the perfect suggestion. $28.3 million. Okay. Like break the curse. Snap it. Snap it in half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that would be the way to go. I think that's the easiest way. Like he wants Amon-Ra St. Brown money, which is great, but like that's not how this offense really works, right? So like the longer this thing drags out, like if he holds firm to 30 million, then like I don't know, man. I don't get good vibes off of this. I really don't. And I want to get good vibes off of it. Like I tried to stay optimistic on the whole Bosa thing the whole way through, and then like he showed up the last week of before the regular season, surprise, and had
I had a feeling he would though with Bosa. With BA, I don't know. The feeling is kind of like a little bit different. I feel.
But he says he wants to stay here, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay here for 28, for 26, or do you want to, like go somewhere else for where? And here's the thing, like look around the league. Where's he going? Think about that just for a second. Like if let's just put that out there. Like, okay, like if the 49ers don't give you $28 million, what are you going to do? Are you going to hold out all year until the very last possible time and join? I think it's like week 10 or something that they can hold out and still get credit for a season so that they can go to free agency. Like, are you willing to do that? Are you just going to show up right before opening day and play on your contract number and, be salty all year and not have any OTAs and not have any training camp? Or are they going to give him what he wants? Because this receiver market is only going to go up. But there's another X factor in this whole thing. What if like Pearsall and, provided Cowing shows up for the OTA and, we don't have any sort of excuse, right? Aaron Rodgers, Jacob Cowing, same deal. Like one's going on a trip, the other one I still don't know why he wasn't there for a day. Like if they feel real good about those guys all of a sudden, and maybe they feel good about Juwan Jennings, maybe they feel really good about Deebo Samuel. This is a Deebo Samuel contract year too. for him. Like, this is a chance for him to maybe it's a big chance for him to get like a contract from, say, a Carolina next year, right? As they try to add some big time weapons around Bryce Young, because Dave Canales will get him fixed. But then I look around the league, it's like Green Bay has like 17 receivers that are all 2s and 3s, right? Like, they're 2s and 3s everywhere, but depending on the play, they're the one on that play. So, like, he can't really, ever since they traded Devontae Adams, like, that's really been it.
Tag is 14.
Yeah. And this is just, and then, you know, if he gets franchise tag next year, that's a whole other shenanigan, right? Like, don't even get started on that thing. Like, I've already heard that he's going to come back and play next year, and then they're going to tag him and trade him. That's a whole big pain in the ass, and is not nearly as simple as people make it out to be. So, it's just one more distraction, man. Like, wrap this thing up and figure it out. Either be honest with them, be like, listen, you're not getting a contract this year, and, you know, maybe we'll give you some sort of guarantee, and then we won't tag you, right? That could be it too. Like, there's going to be a lot of turnover on this team next year, not just because of Brock Purdy, not just because of all the other things that are going on, but it's also going to be because, you know, Aaron Banks is up, Jake Brett, like, there's a lot of guys just up next year, right? And they're just naturally going to go by the wayside because their replacements have been drafted either last year or this year. Like, just the natural progression of a football team and how it goes. So you also have almost $20 million in cap money that will be available next year. That'll be freed up next year as well. That'll be falling by the wayside. Now there'll be all sorts of other things. So, you know, there's a lot of pieces to move around, but like, at some point you've got to figure out what to do with this. Like, you're either going to sign him or you're not going to sign him. And if you're not going to sign him, like, be honest about it and either have him play out the year or give him some sort of sweetener with a 1 year to get it going. Because I don't think you can afford to have a receiver like come in with a B- year. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what we got from Nick Bosa last year. Would you agree? Like, him and Leonard Floyd had the same amount of sacks.
It was Kittle, it was Bosa, it was Debo. When they hold out like that, they struggle to catch up and be a caliber in their game. But it's $4 million. I feel like that's a tiny gap to overcome. You know, it's not life-changing amounts of money in football dollars. So I do see them working something out somehow, some way. They'll put an incentive, you know, in a later year or something, or make something more guaranteed in the front to figure out some way to close that little gap. But, you know, if Ayuk is posting that he wants, you know, his family's here, he wants to be here, he wants to stay. And I think, you know, the offer on the table is a pretty darn good one and not too far away from, you know, maybe you know, what do we always do, right? Aim high and then negotiate back. So there's nothing wrong with that. And if your agent tells you, hey, you're not going to get $30 million, you're going to get somewhere in here. Now we can tweak it this way or we can tweak it that way. Whatever you think is your best option, that's what we'll do. But I don't see it being one of those things where he holds out through week 10. I just don't see it being that dramatic.
Yeah, I don't either. And David McNiner says if he wants $30 million, then trade him. We have a young wide receiver room, and he has him at $27-28 million a season. The thing that I have with that, as far as trading him, we're in our Super Bowl window.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Stack it up.
What are we trading him for?
Bag of donuts.
And he knows that too, I think. Like, that's also in the back of his mind. They've already put they've kept the core, the nucleus together for the next 2 years, right? You got 2 years here, 2 years here, new deal here. Trent Williams is maybe going to be looking for an extension. So you're trying to keep this core group of people together. He knows that he wants to be here. Because if you strike while the iron's hot, if you leave and go to Carolina, you are not going to see that ring for a really long time.
No, you're not. Or no, you'll see it like on the other side of the glass.
Right. You'll watch everyone else get one, right?
Right.
So it's one of those things where yes, you can go to Carolina and be the only game in town and with your money, or you can play competitively on a Super Bowl caliber team. And, I don't have the candlestick dirt, but shake the
Oh man.
necklace, right? What's that?
I said, oh man, you don't
I
have the
know I don't even have my necklace because, it gets wet in the water and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, we're going to win this year despite the curse.
Oh, can I go on a rant about
we
that
will get to
later?
that.
Yeah,
We'll get to
please.
that.
Oh, did I
have
segue into another man?
I have
so
so many thoughts about this. Like, I am
And we will get to that.
appalled. Oh,
But
I
this
can't even
this
begin.
is
I
great.
can't
See how
even.
well we gel? Like we just, we didn't talk about what we were gonna,
Right.
discuss, and here we are. We're
The
going
dominoes
and
are falling.
Steve wants to know if your site is up yet, Maddie.
I'm planning on doing it this week. I had a little bit of a little hiccup this week on some things. So, but we're getting there. If you want tickets, just come see me. Just hit me up in the thing if there's a game you're looking for. I can still do business without.
Why don't you tell them where to find you?
Just look for Niners NE on Instagram or on the X Twitter thing, whatever the hell that is. I haven't logged into the Threads thing yet. I think I have that too, but that's like I don't want to download another app, man.
Yeah, I think I posted once on
Yeah,
Threads.
same. It
Stop
keeps
it.
going.
I'm so
"Don't you wanna
sick of
share
apps
to
and
get that
checking
too?"
things and going places. Like I'm so done with that. Like I cannot.
It's the same stuff in 5 places. It's like, can we just make them all one and call
Every
it?
day I get a little closer to being like my mom and just like going to a cordless phone as a whole. Like that's it. That's what we're doing. We're going cordless phone and like no cable. Like let's let it rip. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
really
Way to
start
go.
fording the Oregon Trail.
The Oregon Trail.
Yeah, you know.
You just
Maddie's
died with
going crazy.
dysentery.
All right, so Rob D says I can see the rebuild being around Brock and Ayuk in the next season or so. Absolutely not.
It's not so much a rebuild; it's more like a reload.
Yeah.
But
Or
I
like a
think they're.
retool.
But think about it; they're doing it on the fly. Look at 2019. Look at 2020. Look at 2021. Look at the difference in players on each one of those teams. Like you've got the core guys there, but like, geesh, you know what I mean? Like there was a lot of additions and subtractions and changes along the way. If you go back to the Green Bay playoff win, right? Playoff. It's almost a different ball of wax. Like Talanoa Hufanga is like basically your special team star in that game. Like he's not an all pro safety in that game. You know what I mean? Like it's a totally different ball of wax, totally different cast of characters. Like it's crazy how much is turned over.
Kenny, I don't see us getting a first rounder for BA right now.
Nope, because somebody's going to have to do a contract with him. That's the other thing. You're not just going to do you guys see what's going if you're looking as a prime example, look around the league right now and look at what's going on with Hassan Reddick with the Jets. Hassan Reddick wanted to deal with the Eagles. And I don't wish Hassan Reddick any good things after what happened in the 2022 NFC title game. But I hope it doesn't work out for him, honestly. But I hope life works out for him, but in terms of anything else, I hope he never wins anything ever in life. So, particularly on the football field, unless he ever joins the 49ers, and then I will invoke what is called
we'll change our attitude.
We're going to invoke something called the Jim Burt rule, and then we're going to be fine with it. Okay?
No,
because
we are not.
And if you don't know what the Jim Burt rule is, you're not old enough to watch a show. I'm sorry, I can't help you. I can't.
Yeah, I object. I was not a fan of him being on the team. I still was like, no, this is unacceptable. You do not get to do that to Joe Montana and come and play in a red and gold uniform. Dear,
it was his job, man.
Dear Eddie, stop it. It's insulting.
Oh, boy. You want the best at that time. Remember, when the Bulls got good, they brought in some old Pistons to help, right? John Sally was on that 96 team. Like you gotta bring in some. The 49ers didn't win the 1994. They don't win the 1994 Super Bowl without Ken Norton Jr. playing linebacker. Like sometimes sometimes the Rebels had to take someone from the Empire, right? Like they had to get somebody back. Like that's how that works. So that's just kind of how that goes. It's the same deal here.
Yeah, but
So
they didn't try to assassinate Joe Montana. I'm just saying.
I can't argue with that logic. I can't. I cannot because there's no.
You can bring in anybody else. That guy
I understand.
was dead to me. I was like,
Understand.
no.
Joe Montana forgave him before you did, which I find
He totally did.
Completely hilarious.
I still haven't forgiven him. So there you go.
Oh my goodness. Be great.
Crazy. All right. Matt Mayoko has said that the Niners can very well have him play on the 5th-year option. Now, some may say, with Mayoko saying that, maybe the Niners are kind of feeding Mayoko some things to put out there. That's an idea. Or he's just saying his opinion. What do you guys think? Becca?
I mean, I don't think anything's off the table because he doesn't have a deal, but I would find it hard to believe that we're not trying to put something to paper and make a long-term deal rather than just have it be the 5th-year option. I don't know.
When I listened to the podcast, the way it was worded, typically I just feel like, he's giving his opinion, right? He was like, hey, and he really was. He was giving his opinion. But the way it was framed was, 2 or 3 weeks ago, if you'd asked me that question, I would have said, absolutely, this deal gets done, blah, 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 blah. But right now, and it just happened to be the same day that the podcast was released, right? Like it wasn't taped the day before and then dropped. Like it dropped immediately. And it was in the news cycle. He said, he's like, it's at least 50-50, or seemed like it was at least 50-50 that he's going to just play out that 5-year, that 5th-year deal. And then they start talking about the franchise tag and all the other stuff. And he doesn't doom and gloom shit real often. You know what I mean? He's just like, he's not a hot take guy. He's not like, I'm going to say this because of whatever, right? Sometimes he'll say things and people just get wound up about it. But like, I don't think he's the type that purposely comes out and says things to get people to react. I think he just says things and people react. There's a difference. I think the way this was worded, and he knows enough people, as evidenced by the events that, he's a part of with current and past 49ers and 49ers management and things of that nature. I'm sorry. Like, the dude clearly knows something, right? So if they think that he's being completely out of, like, as these receiving, I guess what it boils down to is like, how much money are you going to put in that room? How much money is the cap going to go up, right?
Yeah.
And how much are you willing to let the defensive secondary go next year? Like, Charvarius Ward is going to need a new deal, or you better hope you have hit, like, Tim McKay or Deion Sanders and Merton Hanks in like the draft, right? Like those types of guys. Like, you better hope that you've done that, because if not, you're really going to be up against it next year because you've got to re-sign him. So it's and are there games to like? I love Brandon Ayuk's work ethic. I like all the other things that go on. But doesn't it seem to you guys like sometimes he just friggin' disappears? But my problem is on that I can't blame him, because I sometimes wonder why this entire offense disappears at times. With as talented as it is, and with the greatest freaking offensive play caller in the game, or at least the second, at least top two. Like, how does this offense just go through these stretches? It's like a kid in school that just stares out the window. It's like, whoops, class is over and I forgot to fill out my test. Like I sometimes wonder, like that's what's going on a week to week basis. Like I don't understand it.
Well,
And
do you
that
think
makes me
that
wonder, like, is that 30 million? I mean, is the new is 30 million the new 20 million, basically, with this new salary cap? So do you think he's gonna is do you think he's gonna have better numbers than what he had last year? Ever?
I think could the fifth year option be just one of the things that like we're not going to give you 30. Here's our deal, or you could play on a fifth year option. Like here's the best case scenario, here's the worst case scenario, and these are your options. You know, a la carte, pick one of these type of things. And I didn't hear Matt's podcast. I didn't hear the whole conversation or context to know how that was said. But I mean, it could very well be that they put that out there, flung that at the wall too. Like, hey, here's the contract, the offer we're making. This could go, or you could come here, or we can meet you here, or you could play out on a fifth year deal. And that's could be, like a worst case scenario type of situation. I don't know.
If this thing isn't done before training camp, I think I'm gonna be like a little upset.
100%.
I'm okay if it's like one of those deals. You know how like they like to do that first day of training camp, second day of training camp sort of deal? I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah.
But like that didn't really work for Debo. Now I don't think Brandon Ayuk is going to have the same problem Debo did. They're wired a little bit differently in that aspect of it. At least at this point, I think Debo's really locked in now. Like he's really locked in. He's got a very business-like edge to him when you hear him talk recently. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, you're right.
Very like
when they talked about
there's no boombox. There's no Shane Yethan. You know what I mean? There's no James Bradbury comments. You know what I mean? So and yeah, of course BA could surpass what he did last season, but like he almost broke 1,400 yards receiving last season.
Yeah.
Go through the league the last few years and then find some people that hit a number higher than that, hit that number and then hit it higher. Doesn't happen sometimes. He's not the focal point of this offense. And I honestly, as long as the 49ers just told you how they feel about this offense in the last week when they signed Christian McCaffrey to the deal that they just signed him to.
Ooh,
and if everybody's been watching this team for the last, I don't know, however many years, you'll know that this offense went to a completely different level and changed completely and became completely way more efficient. With even still like way more like out the window, sort of like, oh wow, 2 quarters went by and we forgot what we were doing. You know what I mean? Like that stopped. Like you'd have it on a drive or two, which is still ridiculous. But like,
I'm back to that comment.
You don't have it now. So to me, it's just they just showed you, right? They believe Christian McCaffrey is going to be the focal point of this offense, and they also signed Juwan Jennings to a deal, right? And that's a deal that could easily be renegotiated next year. And P.S. Juwan Jennings stepped up in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, Juwan Jennings, fun fact, was really a WR1 in the Super Bowl, right? Like he was the guy.
It's because they had
mock. It was like that's pretty good. That's pretty good stuff. So it's not out of the realm that they could just be like, okay, well, if somebody wants to fire up a second rounder, or what if, you could throw some other numbers out there. We talked about some things. Who are you going to get? What if the Broncos decide, screw it, let's go ahead and make sure we get Bo Nix, a really good veteran wide receiver. We sign Ayuk to a deal so that we can fit him under our cap this year because we got all that Russell Wilson dead money sticking to the cap this year. And then next year, we can kind of gradually slide that thing in for BA and he can still get his guaranteed money. And maybe they trade us back to Patrick Surtain or something, right?
But that's another team that's not going to win anything anytime soon.
Exactly.
But guess what? That's not my problem with him, right? So he has to make that decision, right? That's up to him. Does he want to try to get more money from a team like that? that might be able to get his thing in, that might have something that the 49ers want. Like at this point, like, does a second rounder do much? A second rounder doesn't. Well, like, what the hell does a second rounder really do next year? Does a second rounder get you jazzed? Like,
We
to
already
me,
know it's a gamble
you-
anyway. The draft is the
if you're trading for a second rounder, unless
crapshoot.
you're immediately trading it for something else this year, like to me, that does not scream all in to me, right? And this is supposed to be an all in year. So it's either you got that or you're using him as a trade chip to get something bigger. He comes back with Patrick Surtain from Denver. I'd be okay with that. You think you'd be okay with that? I think I'd be fine with that, right? I think I'd totally be totally kosher on that. I think we'd be just fine. Like if you can bring
See,
back
I
something impactful immediately that helps and makes us better,
I don't think
Yes.
so.
But I don't think it will ever happen.
Guy. This is
I was
his
just going to
guy.
say, Brandon Ayuk is an integral part of Brock Purdy's game.
Yes.
So
I
trading
agree.
Patrick Surtain,
Right.
you know, and Brandon Ayuk, I wouldn't be okay.
So
with
we're going to
that.
spend $52 million on a receiving room next year, or let's say it's 36 because you're also going to have to get.
Debo
You
may
just
not
said it's
be
an
with
all-in year. Are we all
Right.
in or are we not?
It's an all in year. So like at this point, to me, I don't think Brandon Ayuk's going to play for $14 million this year. Yeah, that's the point, right? Like they either have to, if they want to go all in, they have to sign him. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like please do not get that twisted.
No,
Like,
I know. I'm only busting him out.
and there's like we're not trading anybody. That's not happening. The only way that would happen though is you have to get somebody that is all pro level to come back at a position that you desperately need all pro level help at, right? Now, whether that's the defensive backfield, whether that's somebody to replace Jerry Greenlaw, even though everything I hear about D Winters, all of a sudden D Winters is going to be the new dude. So shout out to that. Hopefully that all pans out. I'm down for that. Totally cool.
Right.
You know, maybe somebody pops
This
up.
D pans out.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like maybe somebody becomes available on the offensive line to help on the other side, right? Or something, you know what I mean? That they can be like, oh, this would be great. But that's not going to happen. That doesn't happen in the NFL, right? Like player for player trades very, very rarely happen. It's just not a thing that happens. So he's not going anywhere. But I don't think he's playing under that contract. And I really don't think they want to go much higher than 26, even with the numbers that are currently out there. Like, I think we're in for this Cold War BS again. And I'm just so tired of it. So it's like, make a decision so that we don't have to sit through this, right? Like, I don't want him going anywhere. Like, I want somebody that's developed and everything in there, but I also know that that's not the NFL way. Like, you know, Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers broke up. You know, they did. They just did.
And look where they are now.
Jerry Rice broke up with the 49ers and ended up going to a Super Bowl. He did not win that Super Bowl.
No, he did not.
But he did end up going to another. Like, that stuff happens, and it sucks, and we hate it. But like,
to Beto's point, Ayuk will play in his 5th year, and then they can tag him next year. Isn't the tag like 28 million?
The tag's more than that. It's like a percentage of whatever the top Huda Buda Boo makes, and then like they do the math, and then it's like a certain percentage more.
It's voodoo.
So so like at 20, and if he wants 28 mil, like, and he still wants 30 mil, like at the end of the day, like you're just gonna end up paying him 2 mil next year. So just give him 2 mil now and give him an extra 4 mil down the road or something.
That's what I said. We're talking about $4 million gap between the two sides, and him posting.
It is so dumb.
Here, it'll happen. They'll work some numbers. They always do.
It needs to happen like now. It needs to
happen.
I
don't understand. I don't think they
before
get
training camp.
Yeah.
Do you guys think honestly that it's just us that this irritates? Don't you think it irritates the living shit out of the player and an agent, no matter what the hell your relationship is? I'm sorry, some of my favorite people in the world, right, that I love to do business with, I can't get a friggin' dime out of them because they're always doing some other thing, right? Like it doesn't work. But I love them as people, but they will never pay me what I'm worth. And if they do give me work, it's like, I got to give them a discount or something, right? Like everybody kind of has that. And it's almost like they're doing that as a team. It's like, can you give us a little, just that little bit of whatever.
You see it with the players when they have the down season following because their ego's bruised and they didn't put in the work that they would ordinarily do, where they're behind in the playbook because they weren't there for training camp. And now they have this big gap to catch up. It's because of that. They're sitting there like arms folded in protest. They're not doing anything to help themselves or the team until, the money's in the bank. So, it is detrimental for it to continue to linger. But I hope it's $4 million. My God, figure it out. $1 million a year in a contract, or less than that in a 5-year deal. Pick one, do something.
I know how much the Gold Bar whiskey costs there. Okay, I assure you, there is at least $4 million to be made in Gold Bar whiskey. For Christ's sakes, let's get this done.
Yes,
like it's
find a sponsorship with somebody. Exactly,
just get it done. And 49er meter, yeah, they always get to deal with camp starts, except for last year, right? They didn't get it going when camp started. It dragged through camp. And then with the Debo stuff, like it was so contentious that yes, they did throw it through camp. But then Debo basically went passive aggressive. Oh, fine. You don't want to pay me? I don't really want to work that hard. F you. Yeah. I'll do some Instagram workouts, and the rest of the time I'll eat Chinese food or whatever. I don't know what the hell he did. But like even he admitted like he didn't go all out multiple times that year, right? Like that's not some stretch. He said, I did not have the year I was capable of last year because I let the contract stuff get in the way. So take that however the hell you want it.
It's exactly what happened. So the sooner the better.
So let's just get this done before July 4th. Let's stop all the silliness. Let's get little BA in there to sign, okay? And then like BA's girl can do like a makeup tutorial before the contract signing.
Yeah.
And like his sister could do a thing about the hair, right? Like about how that's all done, or nails or something. Like it can be an entire thing for the entire family to step up and really have a big day, right? So let's just freaking go and make it happen, okay? Like this is what are we doing? It's $4 million.
Right.
For God's sakes. There's $19 million of dead cap money on the books this year, okay? It's just how it goes. So they're paying $19 million for nothing, or you can pay $4 million for something. Okay, so let's just go ahead and tidy in that extra $4 million.
So you tie it into a second or a third year. Look,
yeah, I don't care what they tie it into. I just
right.
Give them a fully guaranteed year this year. So there's absolutely no that you set it up in some sort of way or fashion like they did with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like honestly, if there's one team that knows how to hold on to an asset entirely too long, right? It's the San Francisco 49ers, okay? Like, look at how long – what did they eventually end up getting for Jimmy Garoppolo? No dead cap space and a third-round comp pick, okay? Like, that's how long they held on to him. Like, they held on to that piece of coal long enough for it to almost kind of become a diamond. It became a nice, shiny quartz.
No, it did not become a shiny diamond. We held on to it.
It was a little piece of quartz, right?
Handed over a dead lump of gray ash to somebody.
It wasn't gray ash. It was a nice little it was like a lovely chunk of crystal, like
lipstick
quartz,
on a pig.
You know what I mean? But it was a little cloudy, and it was like there was a little chunk broken off, right? Like probably like the left foot almost, like if you were standing it up, sort of that deal.
Lipstick on a pig is still a pig, Matt.
So
heights before that not seen for a little bit. So yeah,
Debo possibly won't be here next season. Kittle isn't getting any younger, and of course BA could surpass what he did last season. All right,
Callie, you're blocked.
Look at the Titans cap space next year, guys. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's all I'm saying.
George Kittle is not going to be a Titan. He's not. Okay. He's going to finish. If you watch now, and I'm not saying this because he's my favorite player. I'm not. But if you watch the state of the franchise, like clearly the guy wants to be a Niner for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope so.
And, a lot of people say like we're getting old. We're not old.
Seasoned.
Right.
Well marinated.
It's like football old. Everybody wants it to be so old. Like, didn't Tom Brady just play until he was like 44? Like, no, granted, I'm 45 and I can barely move. But like Tom Brady was playing football last year and crushing it, a couple, and like there's other people that were, Vince Evans played for a really long time too. George Blanda played for a long time. There were guys that played a very long time in this league, way before avocado ice cream and everything else. So
I was going to say most of the Jan Steneroods that lasted until they're 100.
Do I 100%? Do I truly believe that's the case? Yes, but sometimes like I don't know.
There
man.
are unicorns like Frank Gore. I mean, yeah.
I watched Jerry Rice walk out the door, and as soon as I saw Jerry Rice walk out the door, it's kind of like, okay. Like the Joe Montana Steve Young thing, as much as I hated it, I understood it. I thought it sucked. I hated it, but I understood it, right? Didn't mean I had to like it, but I was a Steve Young guy, so I didn't really totally hate it. So, So I could see it.
Reading the comments
I could really see it. I could really see them making a run because they want to make a run at the AFC South or whatever. They want to give Will Levis like a tag team partner. I love it.
I know it wasn't a shot at him. I know.
Listen, they're all like, "Oh, I gotta explain. I didn't mean it that way.
I'm so sorry.
Don't kick me out.
We love you, Jess."
Leon Sandcastle. I actually really like that they drafted older, more experienced players. Yeah, they're older but can contribute earlier. Yeah, I agree. They drafted players that have the playing time.
Yep.
They're already understanding things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that when they do go to OTAs and mandatory mini camps, when they're not showing up, for various reasons, some unknown, some totally known, that they're hitting the ground running. That's why Brock Purdy was able to pick it up midseason the way he was, right? Like he wasn't a rookie by December.
Yeah.
Like he was a rookie, but he wasn't a rookie. He'd been faced a pretty damn good defense in practice because he got to be the backup quarterback all year. He got those reps in practice. So And if you look at the way they drafted this year and you look at the way they drafted last year, like they clearly have a plan. It's very similar to how college programs are like, okay, well, we got a 4-year senior and he's going to graduate. Now we've got to really dip in and get a couple of guys from here and here, right? But you really see it. Like the Aaron Banks thing was like a total like eye opener, right? Like everybody thought that pick was a bust the year they made it. Totally. 2021, he's just standing on the sidelines in Seattle, doing nothing, hands on his hips. I'm Aaron Banks. And now that dude's going to be the next guy after next year is going to be the dude that gets
paid
the next Mike McGlinchey, Lake and Tomlinson deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then then he'll get cut and go to another team because they'll be like, wow, he really isn't as good as we thought he was. It was the system.
It was the system or the coaching or right. Yeah.
Did you read the article in The Athletic about how Chris Forster was talking about how like you should always use your first and second round picks on like, defensive ends or wide receivers or running backs or quarterbacks or whatever, because I can find you an offensive lineman between second and seventh round, like third and fifth. Like I can find those guys. I can coach
he's got a strategy to how he likes to draft. Yeah. I haven't read it, but I will. I'll go find it.
100%
island mode. So
it was 100%. And he wasn't wrong, right? If you have guys like that you can then build around a Trent Williams, that's what makes the 49ers so good. Like they have a pillar, and then they have 4 other guys around him to support that pillar.
Yeah.
Right. And whether it's the quarterback, just whatever, however it's set up. So, as long as the big tent poles are there, sometimes those big tent poles are going to change.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
At the end of the day, if you've got a pretty good quality of the other 4 around that other tent pole, you're going to be fine.
Well, we sort of alluded to that before with the way they drafted and the guys they picked that seem to have this versatility and can play multiple positions, and the drop off, some if the starter goes out, the drop off is not as significant between 1 and 2. If you've got these two guys coming in and they're maybe a 1 minus or 2 1 minuses stepping in there, you've got a guy that's good against the run or a guy that's good at the pass that can come in and fill in the gap and almost be as good as the starting guy, rather than what we've seen, in some of those. Somebody goes down and there it goes, and the line goes to crap, and it's a big difference. So it seemed like that the people we picked up in free agency and some of the guys we've drafted that are more mature, older players that have had a lot of playing time seem to be like, we want these durable guys that have some long in the tooth playing time that can seemingly switch up and keep us more solid, a more at a higher level of play for a full game or full season, rather than having these stark differences from start to end.
For those of you just joining us, we are talking about the Brandon Aiyuk contract situation. While you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate you guys coming through. Anything else on this Aiyuk contract situation? Because there seems to be others who want contracts as well.
I have one question about it. How do you
Sure.
think Brandon Aiyuk felt that Christian McCaffrey got a deal before him just by having an almost silent holdout that nobody expected? How do you think that made him feel?
I think it freed up cap space. I think it was part of the strategy to get more money moved around.
100% agree. But like in terms of like, okay, Christian got his money before me again. Like I think they've been to this is I think the second time they've been back to the table with Christian McCaffrey, because I know they gave him some guaranteed money last year, right?
Yep.
They haven't been back to the table with Brandon Aiyuk at all. They haven't
No, but
completed everything.
we had to wait on the Eric Armstead money to come back into play, and now you're wheeling and dealing with other players to open up more cap space. I think it's easy to explain, to say, hey, look, they're making some money moves that help you, not hurt you. So go on vacation.
Sometimes it can just, I feel like it can be
work
framed
out your
differently.
driveway for the media, like
oh man,
he should, stuff.
He should do that. Oh my god, he should totally remake
That's a
the
great
T.O.
idea.
thing.
Go out there and be like, flex on him.
He could have his son hold his feet, dude.
Yeah.
That would be the coolest thing in the world. That would be the best. I would die.
Right? Like,
I would just
you'd be like,
follow it.
I'm ready.
That'd
I'm
be
out here.
It would
Pay
be
me
over.
the money.
Good night. Thank
Right?
you for playing. Yeah.
So,
Oh,
I
man.
think that's easy enough to explain that. Look, they're moving money around, making some cap money, and but it definitely opens up some cap space that helps his deal get to the table.
$31.9 million in available cap space right now as we speak.
Yep.
Facts. And if the thing that I think Jess is going to talk about next also comes to fruition, that will also free up some cap space, because funniest of the funnest fun facts, the guy who also wants an extension, allegedly whispers of, happens to be the number one cap number on the team in Mr. Trent Williams. So
Yeah.
if you can get that $33 million down to say, I don't know, anything better than that, then you're probably winning on this year's cap deal, and then that will also help get some things done.
And I wasn't sure if we were going to touch on that, but that's another domino that if they do extend, you're going to see a Trent Williams deal first, and then you'll get the Brandon Aiyuk deal, because now they know they have the money to run it out for a couple years.
You'll also see a George Kittle deal.
We might.
Because that's been floating
What if they win
around
the Super Bowl this year?
as well.
What if they break this? What if they break this Madden curse, and win the Super
Oh,
Bowl
the
this
Madden
year?
curse, Jesus.
I know.
We're gonna talk about that too, but Trent
Bro,
Williams.
the numbers are not on our side here. Okay, like I'm just gonna
Yeah,
come
but
right out with
we
that.
don't need to be on the cover of some video
Agreed.
game to know
And
that.
Right.
what are we victory lapping it for? Like, woohoo, we're not gonna. It's almost like surprise. Our statistic odds to not win the Super Bowl went up. Way to go! Like, I don't understand
Yeah.
it.
I think he's asking for 30.
It's like we said, Brian, you aim high and you negotiate down.
Yeah,
And
I
there's
think he's
ways to
asking
do
for
it with
30
void years and
and
APYs, and his cap hit won't be $30 million this year, guys. Like, it won't. It's not
No,
just
it
like,
won't.
oh well, they've got $31 million in cap space. I'm sure they
Right.
can just
Give
they
it
can
all
put
to
that
him
30
right
in
now.
now. That's not how that will work. It'll be like he's got a $14 million cap hit this year. They'll probably get it down to. They might be able to get it down to 2 or 3 million depending on how they structure it. So, we'll see. But there's a very good like Trent Williams, like trying to get his contract redone reminds you of the Aaron Donald contract redo that he tried to do 2 years ago, and then he retired. Right? Like he's just trying to get that one last bag before he goes, which I don't blame them. I would too. But I don't think it means it's going to keep him around for a longer period. You know what I mean?
I know it was Jeremy Fowler that reported it, that there were actual whispers.
Yeah, it was an assumption, and it was Fowler that said it. But like, you know how usually those guys, like whether they compete or not, like I feel like if they're working for the NFL Network, like if it's Ian and Pelissero, if it's ESPN, it's Schefter and Fowler. Like typically, if Fowler puts something out there and it's legit, Schefter might like put some sort of follow up out there, some follow up sprinkles, right? So that everybody takes it legitly, and then he can credit, Fowler with the report because they're on the same team.
Yeah, but
But
Schefter's trash.
okay, I understand. Look, we're not here to. I'm not here to ever debate how people do things
Yep.
and do their job, because the things that they
Sorry,
are asked to
I don't
do
like him.
typically aren't the things that they do. And there's all sorts of there's all sorts of layers to the people on them. But when we're talking about this, right, like typically like the other insiders, say from the NFL Network or maybe Glazer from
Right.
Fox or somebody like that,
Right.
somebody's either going to try to discredit it or piggyback on it and be like, yep, there's totally smoke and there's fire here. As Bryant just said, there's absolutely nothing. And yes, Bryant, no, you don't need to sign him this year. But if he decides he wants a contract and then he's unhappy and then he makes the locker room unhappy, it's one bad apple makes you have bad bunch of you know the whole
Or
deal.
holds out for 10 weeks, like you
Was
pointed out. That
Right. I mean, yeah, and
like there's bad juju scenarios.
David, you're 100% right. This is clickbait season, right? People are taking anything they can from. It's really bizarre. Like they're taking quotes and like turning them into things and turning them into clickbait headlines when there's really like weirdly juicy shit going on around the league. You know what I mean? You have Aaron Rodgers basically saying, "Oh, you know what? I don't know if he's going to the Ayahuasca Growers Convention of America, or in Ibiza. Like I'm assuming it's in Ibiza,
In
right? It would be
Ibiza.
Ibiza. It would have to be in Ibiza or Kathmandu. It would have to be in one of those two places.
One of those, because
one of those two places is holding the ayahuasca festival. There's like no doubt in my mind, right? And I'm sure there's probably like an Amsterdamian version like in the fall. So right after Oktoberfest, of course. But like he just skipped it, and like the Jets are like, we're finding you, but we're fine just as long as you're happy, right? But we still gotta find you. So it's not excused, and he's getting fined, but you're happy about it. That's so weird.
No,
right?
You're not happy about it. You're just trying to put on a happy face. And
Brandon Ayuk's working out on a random baseball field somewhere, right? With TJ Hosh, who's his wide receiver coach is most famous for having his name mispronounced as part of an NFL fantasy football commercial. So, like, what are we doing here? Like, what is going on? So yeah, it is total clickbait season, and weirdness could happen, but there's already so many weird things already going on out there. You never know what moron is going to try to place a finals bet, an NBA finals bet from the team facility. You just don't know. You do not know what ridiculousness that could possibly be happening. But
that's true.
So at any given point in time. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt right now, but also like do some due diligence. Look at the local beat writers. If the local beat writers are saying something's going on, and then somebody national's like, "Oh, hey, somebody," like That can help you fill in the blanks quite a bit.
Big Dom got promoted.
Dude, Big Dom has job security because Nick Sirianni's there. As long as Nick Sirianni's there, Big Dom is there. Nick Sirianni goes away, Big Dom will go away. And then wherever Nick Sirianni will go again, Big Dom will go there. He's like the Ernie Adams to Bill Belichick, only not as good and a total D-bag. So, like, just move that on. I've never been more disgusted by somebody's actions in a football game, and the fact that Drake Greenlaw got ejected for him being a jackass will never, ever sit right with me, because if the 49ers had lost that game, we already saw how things were without Drake Greenlaw in the Super Bowl. So, like, things could have gone sideways pretty damn fast in that Philly game, too, if Philly wasn't so mentally weak. So,
yeah,
Right,
it would not have been fun to be standing there and watch it tank.
it's just yet another circumstance where the 49ers get screwed and everybody just forgets about it. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, yeah. Like every time somebody rolls the dice, it's like, there's no way it could possibly be Snake Eyes. And it is every fucking time. It's ridiculous.
Hey guys.
Boxcar Snake Eyes, go. Like, how does that even happen? Someone hit a 7 or 11 to reset this shit already. You know what I mean?
All right, so CMC is on the cover of Madden, which we kind of touched like a couple seconds about a little bit ago. Is the Madden curse real?
What do the numbers say?
I was just going to say, I think Matt has a lot to say about this. But statistically, apparently, yes. So take it, Matt.
Pat Mahomes, 2020, right? He's the only guy that was on the cover and won the Super Bowl. And you can look at the 2020 NFL season the way maybe some look at the 2020 NBA season when they finished it off on a dome, okay? So, like, whatever you want to think, whatever you want to do, that's the only time that it's work. And yeah, there's injury and stuff like that, but like Josh Allen was on the cover last year. Did they win anything? Make them better? They win a Super Bowl? They didn't go to the championship game last year?
To pass the torch.
Yeah, like they just come on. What are we doing? Enough already. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like can we do this stuff after we win a Super Bowl? You know who used to get pissed off about this stuff? Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh would get pissed off about it even after they won a Super Bowl. If you go back and read any of his books, any of the three, he talks about how the 82 season was completely ruined, not just because of the strike, not just because of rampant cocaine use, but because like everybody was getting friggin' commercials, right? Even like the backup equipment manager is getting like a friggin', commercial. You know what I mean? It was just absolutely ridiculous. People are off at charity events on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And
the Randy Cross commercial is still the best one ever.
Absolutely. One of the greatest ones, right? But sure, let's just throw that 82 season in the shitter for it. You know what I mean? Like,
just saying.
I was in denial when they were like, "Oh, let's unhinge the voice of this guy." I was like, "Please don't be CMC." And they were like, it's CMC." I'm like, "Oh, geez, please don't be CMC. Why are we doing this?" It's just I don't know, man. It's really like, it's like the referee got bumped and thrown out of the ring, and now I've hit my finisher and nobody's there to call the count. You know what I mean? Like that's what it feels like. It feels like you're just falling for the same old shit again.
Okay.
And we're celebrating it like it's the greatest damn thing of all time. Like it's
we all burn sage. We all have to do like a sage burning and
I think before the season we have to do that.
I think that should be the whole show. Like we should just go out and we should all bring our video equipment to whatever it is, and it's just a large, and we could do like We Are the World or something, and like and just or you know what, we could play like a lot of Huey Lewis or something. You know what I mean? Like we're just on a loop.
Huey Lewis to come on the show. Wow.
Yeah. That would be something. You know what I mean? They could perform. That'd be cool.
What's that?
That'd be great.
That would be something.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm sure they'd absolutely love to do that.
Order your sage stick and I don't know, a couple weeks.
You never know. Let's see what type of strings I can pull. You never know.
Yeah, right. That would be fun. Everyone get your fire pits ready to go. Get your Madden covers, and we're going to burn them. We're going to sage the space and ride the voodoo dolls. Voodoo can be used for good or bad. So we're gonna do the good voodoo.
Yeah, we'll bring in the Spartan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that's an idea. That's an idea.
We're ending this curse. Maybe we can get a voodoo person to come on and help us. Although they're mostly out in New Orleans.
Got to be something, man. There's got to be some sort of like 49ers spiritualist out there that wants this shit to stop. Like, this is the 30th anniversary, okay?
I mean, if it started with Garrison,
people have literally lived and died without seeing the 49ers in the Super Bowl at this point, okay? And like lived fairly foolish lives. It's ridiculous. We cannot have this happen any longer. It's 30-year anniversary.
Yeah, it's time. It's time to go.
Would Eddie D stand for any of this shit?
No.
Nope.
Like, let's pay the extra $4 million to BA, get them into camp, get them happy, and let's get going. Okay.
And let's burn some sage.
Yeah, and let's burn the sage, all of it.
Yeah, for those of you just joining us, we are talking about the Madden curse and just curses in general, and we're gonna have a show where we burn some sage, and just before the season. That's actually a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I like
it. CMC did say that the Madden cover thing is a myth, and he's not worried about it.
I don't understand how that works.
Well, it's the right thing to say. And with his diligence and work ethic, he's probably one of the few that could overcome the curse, Just working through it.
Becca, I can't believe you don't have your candlestick dirt.
I know, right? It's on my.
She's probably afraid it would get lost in the travel somewhere.
No. Even the necklace. The necklace is laying on my dresser at home because I'm like, I'm going to be in the water. Yeah, let's get the sage. We're going to do it.
Yeah, we so are. We're gonna talk more off air about certain like ideas and stuff, but I think we're actually gonna do it before the season because I think it'll help.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get merchandise from the teams we hate and maybe just throw it in there, like older merchandise, holy stuff that people wouldn't want to wear, perhaps, you know what I mean?
Do you know when we play Baltimore, the lights went out and we were down, my neighbor came, my neighbor's brother-in-law came, and he was wearing a purple jacket. He goes, obviously I'm going to root for Baltimore. And he touched me with the purple jacket. He's like, here, you can have this as a souvenir. I had a wood stove. I opened the wood stove and threw it in and literally put it right in the fire. I was like, don't you dare give that to me. I'm going to burn it. Burned it. And we started, coming back and scoring. So yeah, I'm not opposed.
Awesome.
I love it.
We should burn some Baltimore things. We should burn Kansas City stuff.
Yes.
I'm all in for the Kansas City stuff.
I have a better idea. Okay.
What?
Any Kansas City championship merchandise from the year they beat us in the Super Bowl, Rams Super Bowl championship merchandise, any of that stuff, because you can probably find it on clearance for pretty cheap in a lot of places. You know what I mean? And then we can really just burn that the 2012 Ravens, any of that stuff.
All that.
1990 Giants. Let's go. Let's burn it all.
eBay.
Let's rip it.
Everybody's got to go.
92, 93 Cowboys. I don't care. Everybody buy something from like a historic loss, like some sort of whatever. 87 Vikings don't get anything because they sucked and they didn't go any further, which makes that loss even more ridiculous. But you want to go 85 Bears? That's fine too. Let's throw it all. Like every one of the arch enemies will be like, it'll be like Avengers Endgame.
You know what? But you know what we should do? We should do it together.
Yeah.
And the perfect time to do that is my 4th of July party.
I was just going to say, wherever you
are,
you
have to fly in for it.
I'm already booked. I wish.
Oh, see, Matt's killing the vibe already.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
Jesus.
I'm booked for that weekend. That's a
killing me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Chase Young jersey too.
We
can throw a Chase Young jersey in that.
Chase Young.
Somebody mentioned Jason. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Anything Chase Young, he's going in the fire. Right in the fire.
He can go to beat it.
Yep, he's in the perfect city for some Southern voodoo.
He is.
There we go.
All right,
And
guys.
then we'll have to get all the Spartan voodoo dolls for everyone so we can.
Yes. Yep.
You have one,
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna have to do that.
You
I
have
have
one.
one,
of those. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
We
one.
go out to the hotels like, here, Jess, here's a Spartan voodoo doll.
Jesus.
That's what
There
we
we go.
that's what we did in our spare time, getting Spartan voodoo
Voodoo
dolls.
dolls.
All right, guys. Anything else on the topics today before we go to the hurry up offense in the 2-minute warning?
Nothing for me.
All right. Well, Maddie, you're up.
Niners NE on Twitter and or Instagram. If you need tickets for any of the games, let me know. Happy to help. Please don't be a fan of another team, though. I don't want to help you. I mean, honestly, there's no helping you at this point, but I really don't want to help you with tickets to a game at the home stadium. So, yeah.
Yeah, guys, they're good seats.
They are.
So contact Maddie on Twitter or Instagram. Shout out to the chat. Thanks for coming through. You guys were awesome. Next week, be here because we have
Fire and Hold.
TED Talks Ball, Taradome, and Beto coming on. We're going to have a nice little debate next week. Same time, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Enjoy the off season. As always, go Niners. Go ahead, Becca.
Let's get the BA deal done. Let's get her done. And everybody find some old crappy merchandise, as Matt mentioned, and we'll tell you where to send it. And then we'll just do a live and burn everything.
We're
going to have a bonfire. A live bonfire. Sounds like a plan. But on a different note, RIP to Jerry West. He passed away. And, I grew up in the same town. His sister was my postmaster, and I got to meet him, put the 72 championship ring on the finger here as a little girl. So, we lost one of the OG icons of basketball. So, condolences to the West family. But go Niners. Let's get this offseason stuff worked out.
Why are there so many 49ers and Laker fan combos?
There are a lot. There are.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
And, of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana looking, throwing in the end zone.